It's the Score North Twin Show.
And welcome into the Score North Twin Show. Mackie out today on assignment for the company, Top Secret. So it's Zolgad, it's Declan Goff, and the star of not only our show, but also the 3-game set on Bally Sports North. Trevor Plouffe, I can watch you again. I can watch you. You were great last night. But more importantly, I can just watch Bally's again. I can watch the warehouse games. I can watch you and Provis, who are hilarious and great. So welcome back to the show. More importantly, for my sake, welcome back to my living room for Twins games. Nice to have you back.
I appreciate it. That's a nice little intro right there. I'm happy to be back in your living room, I guess. And this is my last series of the year. I'm kind of sad about that because this is like, it's like crunch time. This is when the games are so much fun. They really mean something. So I'm going to enjoy. I got 2 more here in San Diego. I'm going to really enjoy them. Because this is a fun place, number one, to do it. They're a good team. Twins,
yes.
You know, we'll get into what the Twins are right now, but obviously they're a good team as well. And I wish I had more.
So, you know, I know that you've got the John Boy stuff, the podcast, the daily show with Chris Rose, which I love. Do you want to do more though, as far as in the booth goes? Like, it feels to me like you enjoy it, and the thing I appreciate about you is you're a former player who loves like the game itself. And I know that sounds stupid, but like I've heard guys who get into their broadcast careers and it's clear it's a good paycheck. And I think they like the people, but I don't know that they love the game. And one thing I appreciate about you is you're really up to date. Like you combine your playing career with what you're gleaning from today. My biggest gripe with guys like you who don't do this right is they lean on their careers. Mm-hmm. So like, but they don't pay attention to what like baseball changes, sports change, right? So like, is this, if you had the chance to become, I don't know, full-time, because that's a ton, but to do a lot more in the booth, would you take it?
I would love to. I really appreciate that, by the way. Thank you for the compliment. I do love doing it. I think it's so much fun, and I can't imagine another job that, like, you know, for me, that I would enjoy more than that. You know, getting to have the vantage point of, you know, being at all these cool ballparks, you know, being around these, you know, awesome athletes and just getting to kind of call the games as something I'll never take it for granted. But I don't think I can get into more, only because I don't live in Minnesota. If I lived in Minnesota, I think I would love to do more, but they're all road games for me. And I have to weigh, you know, being a father and a husband with, you know, wanting to do this more for a career. And that's an easy choice for me. Like I got to be home with my kids. I gotta be there. So I think, you know, what I told the Twins this year going in is I could do 1 month out of the year, or 1 month out of every month, or 1 week out of every month. And that was kind of the most I could do. So that, you know, that ends up being, you know, about, you know, 30 games. I think I did 25. I'll end up doing like 25 games this year. And that's kind of like the max that I can do right now. And again, I would love to do more because I do kind of have a passion for it. And Corey makes it so easy just kind of to get in and out. Like the fact that he's able to be as good as he is with, I don't know how many guys he works with, 5 or 6 analysts.
Yes.
That's a skill that not many people have. And I don't know. I love working with him, and as you mentioned, the people are a big part of it. But I do also love the game. I think I've fallen more in love with the game after I've been done playing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it seems like that. Now, here's my request for you to tell the Twins next year. Okay, can you request? And he's not doing TV now, but he's doing radio a bunch. Can you request that you do a 3-man booth with Molitor?
I would love that.
Because you guys talking baseball, and Provis is he's a great point guard. Mm-hmm. So like he would dish the ball off. But I mean, Paul's savant-like ability to watch a baseball game is sort of scary. Then you love this stuff. I feel like that would be a baseball tutorial. If you could get them to put you in the booth with Paul and Corey, I think that would be a must-watch Twins series.
He really is one of you know, he's one of the best baseball minds out there. And I remember him coming around when he was a roving guy for the Twins and coming around to the minor league cities, like he taught me how to watch a baseball game correctly. And like, I didn't know, at the time you're playing, you just want to like go and perform and be on the field. And he's like, well, that's good. You want to do that too, but this can help you. And so I would sit next to him. We just talk about picking apart the pitcher and like, look what he's doing there. And he's like, in the minor leagues, I swear, the guys there wasn't a lot of video. There wasn't a lot of thought behind it. And Molly would get on the bench and pick apart a pitcher within a batter. And I'm talking at like a 65, 70% clip. He was just getting these guys. I was like, I cannot believe that I was like, did you do this all the time? Is that why you were so good, Molly? And he's like, it was part of it. So yeah, he really taught me how to watch a game. And you're right. He has the knack for seeing things that most people don't see.
All right, Trev. So the Twins have a good week going into yesterday. They take a series against Kansas City. They clinch the season series there. Anytime you take 3 out of 4 on the road is obviously a win, despite the buzzkill loss on Sunday. We always like to do a little vibe check on Mondays when we do our State of the Twins show. What is kind of Trevor Plouffe's vibe check with the Twins right now after Game 1 of the Padres and a good week of baseball last week?
Vibes are good. I mean, the clubhouse, I went in there yesterday, talked to the guys. They had the hitters meeting. They did it outside yesterday in the stands, which I thought was really cool. I asked Rocco before the game. I said, it's hard to call these the dog days of August because you're in a playoff race and the baseball is fun. But, it is still, like kind of that time where it can get monotonous. And I asked him, do you proactively do something to stop that? And he mentioned, yeah, we try to do as much as you can. And then they did that. Had the players meeting or the hitters meeting outside, which I thought was really cool. So vibes are good. I think my take on the Twins right now is they're kind of like overproducing with the roster that they have because we're still, there's still Byron's out, Correa's out, Brooks Lee is out. Joe Ryan's out. There's a lot of injuries. We're talking real deal players that are important to this team. That aren't here right now, but they're still finding ways to get victories. Even yesterday, I thought Michael King was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then when they got to the bullpen, that was it was tough to watch. Honestly, I think most Twins fans were like, hey, we could have had those guys too.
That bullpen, man, look what they did. You're so right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, Zebby, I thought, he looked pretty good. He made the one mistake pitch to Merrill, which I thought was the right pitch, just wrong location. He left it up. But they gave themselves a chance to win in a game where most of the bullpen was down. They weren't going to be there. And again, we're missing a couple guys. Royce has kind of looked yesterday like he's trying to figure some things out at the plate. And again, I think they're overproducing. That's my take. They're winning games, and I don't know. I don't want to say it like this, but I don't know if this roster should be winning as many games as they are.
Right.
Speaking of that, what is your intel on Correa? Because to me, Buxton's incredibly important, but Correa to me is the linchpin. If he doesn't come back, I don't know. You can get in the playoffs because they've shown that they can, right? But I don't know if you can expect to do much there without him. It sounds like he's back to baseball activity, but since you're with the team, what's the vibe on when he might be back or how they feel about his progress?
Provis texted somebody in the org yesterday asking, can we get updates on Buck, Correa, and
Please.
Lee? And there was no updates essentially. So I don't really have anything. I can dig more for us today, but I agree with you. I think if the Twins want to win a playoff series and they want to have, those aspirations of winning a World Series, I think you have to have all of those guys. I agree. You got to have all of them because you're going to have, I believe the Twins are going to have to slug their way through the playoffs with they got some young starting pitching. And so, as of right now, it's Pablo, Bailey, and Simeon Woods Richardson will be your 3 guys. And if they're in the wild card, those are the 3 guys that are going to go. I don't think we've got an official word on Joe Ryan yet, but I don't know if you can count on him being back. So,
right.
They're going to have to hit, and you need those guys in the lineup, man.
Yeah, it feels like too, Trev, when they've been at full strength, and we saw even a little bit yesterday early against Michael King, to your point, who's honestly one of the better pitchers in baseball this year. It feels like when their lineup is at full strength, they've actually hit some of the best staffs in baseball. They won 5? They won 5 against Seattle this year. They've beaten the Royals numerous times in series who have one of the deepest staffs in baseball. The Phillies, that was the same thing. It's one thing when, you take 12 of 13 against a bad White Sox team. I think it's another when you have shown you can hit some of the best starting pitchers in baseball. And obviously when you get to October, you're going to face aces essentially. You're going to face really good pitching to start. And if this lineup gets to full strength, I know that the Twins are very lopsided right now on what they have to rely on by the time playoffs start. I'm pretty optimistic, man, that lineup can go honestly toe-to-toe against next to any starting pitcher in baseball.
I think the X factor, and I know he was like in an 0 for 13 slump before yesterday, was Matt Wallner. Like if he becomes what we've seen from him, the length in that lineup can be exceptional. And especially when you're talking power, you need that in the playoffs. I mean, that's the stat. Everyone wants to say pitching and defense wins playoff games, but it's really homers. If you out homer the other team, you're going to win playoff games. And, obviously Wallner brings that ability. I think talking to him yesterday and just kind of, watching his at-bats through the season, and, we know what his numbers are since he's been called back up. He's very confident. I think he thinks he belongs now, which is like the biggest turning point you can have as a young player, is finally believing that this isn't just some dream that, oh my gosh, I'm in the big leagues. It's like, no, this is the league that I'm playing at, that I'm at this level. Once you get there, that's when, that's where you want to be. And I think he's found that. I'm hoping, I don't know. There's so many guys like that can go either way. Like Julian had some good at-bats yesterday, and I know he's been just absolutely struggling, but like if he can figure it out, I don't even know where he fits in the plans anymore, but they have a lot of players. And I guess, it's weird because we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. I mean, it's August 20th. So how many weeks is that? 6 weeks left in the season, essentially 5 weeks. I guess the Twins do have like a lot of question marks, but they're not like crazy. Like, oh my gosh, like this is so far out, this isn't going to happen. It's like, can we get these guys back on the field? And then what are we going to do when we have this excess amount of players? It's kind of like good. Once everyone's back, there's good problems to be had for the Twins as far as their lineup, I guess. The rotation is still the thing that, I mean, it scared me all season long.
And now it scares you more.
It scares me a little more because the guys are young.
Who is the third starter now? Like, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, Festa's he's been good.
Yeah,
he's been really good. So I still think it's Sim, but I don't know.
But it might be Festa.
And then there's a lot of questions.
When Zebby doesn't walk guys, it's like, because I will say this, Zebby looks the part. Like, I love the build. He's got that pitcher build, and he throws strikes ordinarily very consistently. But yeah, as far as the actual lineup goes, like if you get guys back, it's great. But and I think I know, it's probably your ace right now because he's pitched so well for the most part is Bailey. But Pablo's come back and pitched well. So my big question, my two big questions are third starter and reliability of the bridge of the bullpen, which gets back to your point, which is so when you see that Padres bullpen unveiled last night, okay, and they bring out the guy that they got from the Rays, the guy that they got from the Marlins. What's going through your mind as far as what the Padres gave up to get those guys and what the Twins didn't give up to get, let's just say, to not get greedy, Trev, one of those two guys?
We were going over that yesterday on the broadcast. I think it was in between innings, or I don't know. We were talking about it, and they gave up minor leaguers. Like I don't know that my take on all this is, you're in a spot right now. You paid a lot of money to put this roster together for the San Diego Padres. So it's win now, and it's not win 3 years down the road when this guy may or may not be a good big leaguer. It's win now. So let's go cash in some of this prospect capital and go get guys we know are going to help. I mean, last night when those guys came in and Jason Adam struck 3 people out, I looked at Cora. I was like, this game's over. Tanner Scott's warming up in the bullpen. Suarez is back there. Like, it's like they have a legitimate shutdown bullpen. The Twins by and large do too. They could use some help back there, like any team could. But that's what I think. I mean, I think the Twins have a collection of minor leaguers that they could have went out and gotten, almost anybody. We're talking about one of the top-ranked farm systems in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. What is that for? Like, eventually, like those guys are going to become big leaguers, we think. Like, go look at prospect lists from 2008, 2010. Like, you're going to see a bunch of names. You're like, who's that? You might see a couple guys. Oh yeah, there's whoever. Like, obviously, you're going to find guys on those lists that have come and been big leaguers and superstars, no doubt about it. But there's also a bunch of guys that will have a cup of coffee, or maybe never even make it to the big leagues, or they get here and they're not the same because it is a completely different thing. So I know there wasn't a ton available at this deadline for the Twins to go and grab. Right. We were talking about it yesterday. There is the waiver period still, and it's like completely changed now. And we saw it last year with Cleveland when they just took everybody from the Angels. Yeah. Like, possibly the Rangers start to get rid of people, and if I'm the Twins, any pitcher that becomes available, I'm just taking him. If he falls to you. I think we might see that, and maybe we'll stop talking about who's going to be the third starter, because maybe the Twins will pick up somebody that way. I think that's really a viable and seems like it should happen. If I'm the Twins, I'm looking every single day on the waiver wire and seeing who's available.
Yeah, I believe Hector Neris cleared. Now he's a reliever, but Hector Neris cleared waivers for the Cubs today, so he is now basically a free agent that the Twins wanted to go pick him up. But on your point too about, I know, because I heard Corey yesterday on the broadcast talking about how, like, hey, look at now the homegrown pitchers the Twins have developed, yep. and that is a credit. That, as much as Twins fans have ripped the front office for not developing pitching, there is now examples of starters, relievers that have come up here and been successful. But Corey, when he also threw that question at Rocco in a pregame session sometime last homestand that I was in there with too, and Rocco brought the point that, yeah, that is a good sign for organization, but it also means we still need to trade for pitching when we have an opportunity to trade for it, which I in my opinion, was a great subtle shot at the front office of, hey, yeah, we love the guys that are in this group, and it's great that our organization is developing it, but we can't miss windows when we need to acquire a Sonny Gray like they did a few years ago. Go get a Joe Ryan. Go get Pablo Lopez, obviously. Like, I kind of like the authenticity of Rocco there, basically saying, hey, yeah, it's great with our guys, but we need also some help here when it's time to get some help.
I mean, I think Twins fans last night, they saw when those guys came in and shut the Twins down at the end of the game, especially Adam and Scott. Like, I think a lot of Twins fans were like, wow, like, it's not fun to see that when the team that you're playing went out and made the moves that you probably needed to make. I mean, Tanner Scott was available, and the Twins needed a lefty, and instead, no shots fired for Trev, but I would rather have Tanner Scott.
Absolutely. So, you know what? All of this talk about pitching that the Twins didn't acquire, it makes me want to have a beer. And if I'm going to have a beer, you know what? I'm going to have a Patty's. That's right. Padraig's Brewing makes beer that tastes like, ladies and gentlemen, very simply, beer. A local craft brewing, recreating Irish and UK classics, as well as some innovative craft beers. Imported Irish and British grain yeast and hops to develop their beers. They have, I'm going to tell you right now, and these are hard to find. It's hard to find in 2024 a good red beer. They have delicious red beers, and they also have session beers. So if you want something that you can just sip on, absolutely delicious. Available now in over 80 liquor stores in the metro. So go and find them. I personally go to Byerly's Lunds to pick up my patties. Again, the red is absolutely great. Find them on Facebook or Instagram, or go to their website, Padraig's, PADRAIGS.com. Padraig's Beer. Appreciate them for helping sponsor this Twin show. All right, Plouffe, give me this. If you were to predict, give me a name or two of a starting pitcher that you think a team might bail on and say, you know what, let's get rid of this guy, put him through the waiver process. What type of starter are we talking here? Because I know it can range on salary as well. Yep. So like give me a name or two of a guy that you think that could possibly land on the wire that would be up for grabs.
I mean, just looking at who's not in contention right now. I mean, the Cardinals are 5 games back of a wild card. They're much further back in their division.
on Friday.
So I mean, I don't know if Sonny Gray is going to be available. Like it seems to me, I'm being serious. These teams that are out of contention, they are looking to decrease payroll at the end of the year. That's just the truth of it. So is a Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray reunion coming? I don't know. I still want Texas to get rid of everybody. They got a bunch of pitchers coming back. Like I think Nathan Eovaldi has a limited no trade clause, which obviously he can waive as a player. A vesting option for next year, which he'll probably decline. So like you're just paying whatever his salary is left for this year. That is my guy. I don't think he makes it to the Twins. If I'm being honest, I think the Red Sox would probably snag someone like that. But I mean, I think there's going to be teams out there that are starting to shed the payroll. I don't think Seattle, even though I think they're out of it now. I mean, they're getting, I think they're 4 or 5 games back in the division, 6.5 in the wild card. I don't think they're going to shed any of their pitchers because they still believe in that team, and I don't know how they can't. I mean, they cannot score runs. It's crazy. I mean, who does Tampa Bay let go? Like, honestly, the options could be endless. It's just, do the Twins have an opportunity to get these guys, or is Boston going to snag them all up? Is Houston going to snag them all up? I was kind of like looking through, what's going on. So, I mean, the Mets have a worse record, so they've been able to pick in front of the Twins. I think they would snag people up. I don't really think the Royals are looking for a starter. So I think the Twins would be fine there. Houston doesn't really, I guess, need pitching maybe they would. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of guys available. I truly believe that. It just depends if they make it to the Twins.
Interesting. My one fear would be, because this entire year has been about controlling costs, right? My one fear is, because I thought if you make a trade and you send a slightly better prospect to a team before the deadline, you can get them to take on some of the salary that's left. My fear would be, because this would be a straight, you just take on the rest of the salary, that the Twins would balk, just because they've been so steadfast about trying to be as cheap as possible 2024 payroll. That's my concern.
Yeah, I don't know how you combat that. I mean, you can put one of your own players on waivers and hopefully somebody picks them up, and then all of a sudden that's kind of like a salary swap, and I don't know who that would be. I don't know.
Interesting. I
don't know who they would do that with. I mean, Kyle Farmer, I don't know. It seems like he's kind of like, they love him there, and I do too. I think in the clubhouse they were like him. I don't know how they could do that, but I agree with you. I mean, if they've been so adamant not adding payroll, then it kind of, hamstrings those aspirations.
Yep.
Trev, I think it was Jason Worth that was talking about this on a Barstool podcast a few weeks ago. And we talked about dog days of August and how that's when the baseball season really feels like it's kind of reaching its boiling point of a long year and whatnot. And Worth brought the fact of, like, by August, and I don't think this is the case with every team, but like by August, in his experience, everyone just starts kind of hating each other, getting annoyed with one another. You've been around each other for basically 6 months at that point. You've seen each other on the road, at home, every single day. Is that a similar kind of experience for you when you were playing by like August? You're like, okay, and especially with some of those, obviously bad Twins teams that you were on, where you were mostly out of it. You were kind of like, can we get to the end of the year here? Like, I am sick of all the travel. It's been a grind all year. What was your kind of experience when you were playing those dog days of August?
I don't think we ever really had a clubhouse where you didn't like the other guys. We had a pretty tight knit clubhouse. I mean, there were some tussles every now and then, but I think, if you look at those Phillies teams like Chase Utley and even Worth himself, those are different kind of guys. I mean, those are kind of like ornery type guys. We didn't really have that. So I didn't really experience that. Definitely, as far as showing up to the park out of it in August, I think that's the worst part. You're just like, man, we're playing for nothing. You're playing for personal stats. The game is not fun when you do that. Like, I don't know, people might think, oh, cool, you just go play for yourself and be selfish, and that's great. It's like, no, like, this is a team game, and it's like when everyone's pulling together for a common cause, that is when the game is fun. I always say the most fun baseball I ever played, I didn't get to play in the playoffs. I think that when you get to the playoffs, nobody gives a shit about their stats. It's about winning the baseball game. Those are the most fun times. So I played Team USA twice. Thought that was some of the most fun baseball ever because you just want to win. In like high school ball for me, same thing. It's just a bunch of guys and you just want to win. Like you're playing with your friends and you just want to win. That's the best type of baseball. So every season starts out that way. And then obviously, I was on some bad teams where by the end it was like, it doesn't matter if you win, we're out of it. And that's when I think that was the worst part of it. We didn't really have like clubhouse malfunctions or people wanted to kill each other. It was
No
more
fights
like
ever?
what the, I just got an alarm going off in my hotel room. I didn't set that alarm. We had one fight.
Ooh.
But I don't know if like they want me to talk about it. Two prominent players, and we broke it up. I was like, hey, let these guys fight. Like they need to fight.
Whoa. So twins, two prominent Twins players.
Yes. Can you guys hear that in the
Yeah.
background?
Well,
Yeah.
Hold on.
if you can stop it, and then 'cause
Yeah.
if we can get that stopped,
Because I want to hear
kinda
because I want to get details on this. I do not want to let them
that
go
is the
until we got
worst.
details.
That is the worst when an alarm, especially an alarm in a house.
Those are all. You know what? You don't
But it
need
would-
them to now. Everyone's got a cell phone. You no longer need an alarm clock.
Yeah. I told you the story my first night in this house that I've been living in
got
for
it.
the last year and a half, that the fire alarm started chirping the first
Oh,
night.
that's
and
awful.
I didn't know because I was only in the house for like 7 hours at that point. I didn't know where it was coming from. So it's 3 a.m. I have one eye open trying to figure out
gosh.
where the
that's
chirp is.
awful.
I almost broke the lease on the first night.
Hotel alarm clocks, though, to me, everyone's got a cell phone. You don't need alarm clocks
No,
anymore.
yeah,
Do
agreed.
you remember a wake up call? I'm old.
I
I
used
used
to
to
get
remember
wake-up
a
calls all the
wake up
time.
call.
My
I
dad,
would
yeah,
prefer
remember that.
now if you don't have like, and I don't know why you wouldn't. If you don't have a cell phone, I would prefer a wake up call to what you just experienced there.
I didn't like that at all.
I don't want that chirping crap.
I feel like the people. It's
I
like
grew up with
someone
that.
played a cruel joke on. You leave the hotel and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to set this alarm. I might do that now.
You should
pass it
you
on.
should.
Set it
Absolutely
for like
right.
5 a.m.
Pay it off. Pay it off. Okay, so there was two prominent players, Twins clubhouse. I feel like Delman Young might come into this if I'm in the right time period. No. Oh,
I'll say I won't give more. I can't give more than that because I don't think these guys want it out there, and I don't want to be like that.
and they
guy
didn't
that's
like each other. Like was this a personal?
I
issue?
think no. I think. I mean, I know now. Like they're friendly and everything is good. But this was during the season, and
Okay.
one. It was. I'll say this was a position player versus a pitcher, and they didn't like kind of what was going on. And there was a couple words exchanged, a couple, they got together. It looked like they were going to fight. And again, I was like, let's like settle this. All right. Like you
go.
kind of need that sometimes. And then
Yeah.
it got broken up. Actually, Perry Castellano, old Twins strength coach, broke it up. And he's like kind of like a little guy, got right in the middle of these guys. And
So no punches thrown because of this.
no punches thrown, some hands on each other, but no punches
Okay.
thrown. No, but it was a big deal in the clubhouse for sure. I mean, it kind of rattled everybody, and like I said, these are like two prominent.
Where were the
players. reporters
reporters to unearth this? Like this is why we
I don't
have
know that-
beat people. Where was Lavelle?
Yeah, I don't think it was right after the game, and it was outside of like the main clubhouse areas, more towards kind of like the
right.
weight room and stuff like that. But it was a big deal.
Darn.
I wish I could tell. It's a fun
Yeah.
story. I wish I could tell the whole thing, but I just like I can't be that guy.
No.
Get
you're
clearance. Get
If
clearance.
I get clearance, I'll tell the
Yeah,
story for sure.
because
Yeah. It's a good one.
Because on the old show that Phil and I did, Gladden was a weekly guest, and we got him one time to tell us basically the entire segment was the Lombardozzi Gladden fight in the front yard of what Gladden, or I think it was Lombo's front yard. But he told us how he drove there, confronted Steve, and like came in with a big gash on his face, and it of course then got out. But get clearance because I'd love to hear this.
Okay.
This is full of intrigue and awesomeness. Coach Trev, thanks much. Again, if you did not catch the Twins last night, and if you subscribe to Comcast, you know what? You can watch the Twins again on Bally Sports North. Corey Provis and our guy Trevor Plouffe doing the entire series. So 2 more games left. Declan Goff, tell the people what they need to know before we depart.
Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe button, Score North Twin Show. That's Trevor Plouffe. He joins us every single Tuesday. We got some extra innings episodes also coming up as well. Purple Daily's locked and loaded. We got scoop sessions with Doogie. So plenty of stuff, plenty of content at your fingertips and your ear holes. We'll be talking next week.